At the heart of every great school, there's a teacher who never stopped being a learner. Mr. Abhimanyu Basu has been in education for over 2.5 decades, but he still walks into a classroom with the same curiosity he had on day one. His journey has taken him across the world as a teacher, an examiner, a trainer, and a mentor par excellence. But no matter where he's been, his focus has been always simple. How do we make learning better? How do we make it more meaningful? For him, true education goes beyond academics. It's about nurturing empathy, integrity, and a sense of purpose. Because at its core, value based education is what shapes good human beings. And that's always been a cornerstone for his work. In every lesson, every policy, every conversation, there's an emphasis on character as much as curriculum. At DAIS, he is the dean and CEO, but for students, he's someone who champions their ideas. To the teachers, he's someone who pushes for progress. And to everyone, he's someone who leads not just with vision, but with heart. From guiding the school through significant transitions in learning methods to shaping the future of education with technology, Mr. Basu has consistently prioritized inclusion and creativity as its core value. Mr. Basu just isn't building a school, he's shaping a space where learning is alive. Because for him, it's not just about what students know, it's about who they are and who they have the potential to become. The dreamers, the doers, the lifelong learners, the ones who dare to dream and learn to excel. As the fourth edition of the Level Up series, we have Mr. Basu today here to share his insights on his journey of the last 28 years. Thank you, Mr. Basu, for giving us time. For the Level Up series has been very important to us. Over the years, we've engaged with a lot of educators, administrators, authors to understand their thoughts on the changing landscape of education. Different topics really, right from how do we incorporate technology into the curriculum delivery, or how parental expectations have changed, or how a school finds their value in unique value in the proposition. So this conversation is to help educators navigate through these changes. So thank you so much for giving us time.
Welcome to the school. Welcome to the Nita Ambani Junior School. And it's great that you all could make time to come here and take this story forward. Thank you.
Start right from the beginning, Mr. Basu. What inspired you to take up a career in education? Some key influences in early years that made this happen.
I was, sort of academically inclined. Never thought that I'll be into education. Only connection with education was that my mother, has been a teacher, and she's still a teacher. Once a teacher, always a teacher. And so that is something that I've seen. So I was preparing for getting into research after masters, and that's when at time I think I had one of my first cousins who said that there's an international school in Chittagong, and they're looking for a maths and science teacher. Would you like to go there for a year? And I went, and that's where it all started. And I think while spending that amount of time with children and in school, I just realized that's something that I wanted to do. So it was that year of self-discovery which led me into education.
And it's 21 years in DAIS. Congratulations on that.
21 years in DAIS, and I think almost 28 years now in international education. I never thought that I would come to India and teach, because I've always taught in international schools. Because India had such a straight and a strong national curriculum system, I never thought that international schools would come. And I think at that point of time, when I came back to India, 2002, it was like 5, 6, 7, 8 schools which were there. And I saw an advertisement on one Sunday of Dhirubhai Ambani International School opening up, applied, and here I am, 21 years later, sitting here in our next, in the second school that we have built.
That actually brings me to the next question, Ms. Basu. How has it been working with a dynamic leader like Mrs. Nita Ambani? Some insights that you can share of her vision.
Mrs. Ambani, I always say to her, and I say to people, she is somebody who is well ahead of her times. She spoke about, uh, you know, a balanced curriculum. She spoke about learning inside and outside the classroom. She's she told us to get, this whole thing organized about student work and how much work they were given over a period of time. She was talking about student workload, well-being, and so many of these things that everybody else is talking about today. And this is back in 2004, 2005. So she's a perfectionist. Her minute by minutes for any event would ensure that there is literally no blind spot. And that sort of detailing of work is something that really tells you that I define that as culture of excellence. Because excellence is not just results, placements, and what the school achieves. Excellence is every small thing that you do every single day. And I think that drives who we are as an institution. She was very successful in establishing these core values as we started the school. And also, I think as a school, we have been lucky that we had a leadership team which has sort of stuck around for almost 20 years. The core team has been here, and that really speaks volumes because that takes the institution to the next level.
Absolutely.
So it is something
Consistency of the team.
which, yeah, it's you have a vision, and then everybody needs to buy into that vision, and then they establish that thing in theory, and it takes time to get things going. So Mrs. Ambani, if I want to say in a single word, I think she is a visionary, and she is always thinking ahead of time.
For most schools that we interact with, it takes a legacy takes a good 30 plus years to build. I think all of these things that you are sharing with us contributed for DAIS to have reached that in half the time. What according to you, DAIS does differently than most other schools?
So I think one of the things in DIS is that we have a very flat leadership structure, which means that Mrs. Ambani herself has created that atmosphere from day one that everybody can freely express themselves in meetings. We always believed that four heads could think more than one, and we ensured that collaboration was non negotiable. So, if collaboration was non negotiable, it always ensured that you are welcoming new ideas and you are listening to them and you are pitching. So, what probably schools have done in a much longer amount of time through active collaboration, we have achieved in a very short amount of time. See, this whole collective experience of the leadership team at any point of time was 100 years, more than 100 years. So when you bring that 100 years collective experience together, you can build things that other schools have taken years to build. So I think that's the power of collaboration.
So in your day to day, do you get all of them, everybody together? Are there questions that are asked? Is it a regular thing and a weekly thing or a daily thing?
So I have a weekly meeting which are there, and then we have multiple checking points which are there from time to time. And I think we have an open office policy. Nobody needs an appointment to meet anybody, as long as you are. And I think we spend a lot of time with the children in the classrooms to see what's happening there, because that's everything revolves around that. But I think if you build a sort of an environment where it's an easy, accessible arrangement between everyone where everybody can freely express themselves, then I think things flow. And that's what DIS or NMJS is all about.
How can we inspire children to reach their fullest potential?
See, I truly believe that every person is unique and they will find their niche. You just need to allow that time to come, because without passion, nothing goes on. Right? So, we can force fit a person into something with active guidance, but it doesn't generally lead to something which is great, because at some point of time they will say, no, I'm not going to be able to do this day in and day out. And I think that component is very easy. Like, one of the founding principles here has been always to find teachers who are passionate about teaching. Because if you do not have a passionate person, you are not, if they're doing it for a job, I think that's not the type of person that you are looking at. You're looking at people who are genuinely passionate, genuinely interested, and I think that makes a great school. So, if there is one thing I spend a lot of time is to finding good teachers who can align with the ethos of the school, who can buy in with the values and the guiding statements. That alignment is necessary.
And the attention to the kids, and I think then the millennial parent is also happy about it.
See, a parent wants to know today what their child is doing, how they are progressing. And as long as you are giving them that information, which is genuine, not generic, uh, I think they know that you know the school knows their child. And that is that assurance that every parent wants, for the school to keep them informed on what is the progress, what's the development of the child, where are they falling short, what do they need to do to move to the next steps, and are you taking that approach to, you know, to keep them informed. Parents are a greatest strength for us. I've never seen such a supportive group of parents. We have had multiple accreditation visits, and in every visit, the chair of the team has told me that, Abhi, what did you give to your parents? Because I nudged them in every possible way and I could never hear anything negative about the school. But I think that's quite genuine, because I think because we have that open environment, an open office, um, invitation for people to come and express themselves if they need to, and they know that they are heard, and corrective actions are taken as and when needed. Parents are always going to be supportive. As I said, they need to know how their children are progressing. And is the school keeping them informed? Because, like the five fingers, every child is different, every child's journey is different. Are we able to support them is something which is really important.
Are the parents today more technology friendly?
Yeah, they are extremely. I think schools are also getting tech enabled, right? I think, there is nothing which happens, very little which happens on paper today in the school. Last 6 to 8 years, our printing cost has reduced to 10% of what it was.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, it's not that people do not um, need to print anymore. They need to write as well. But I think it's significantly reduced. Yeah. But there are some things the kids still want in print, right? So they want a textbook. We moved to a digital textbook scenario for certain texts, and I think the kids said that they wanted hard copy. So we went back to hard copy. The child is at the center of everything that you do, right? So you actually move around and make those changes what is necessary.
Getting the feedback from the students and what is.
Because that whole cycle is very important. The connection is very important. to know what is happening and how it is being perceived, how it is being taken, they're comfortable.
Do you see parents, young parents who are getting their kids into primary school or kindergarten? Do you see them worrying about the ultimate outcome? Like, is there that in the mind? Is
Yeah,
success
yeah.
important?
100% there is that's in the mind. But I always tell people that don't think about things that you cannot control. And don't overthink, over micromanage from now, because like I said, every child will flow. Every child will figure out what they want, they will find their niche, they will grow. What you can give them is skill sets. If you try to do too much, I have seen children over the years who are burnt out. I have seen children who were exceptional, obedient children, listening to parents, and but they never listened to themselves, right? So when they went to college and they had all the freedom, they just didn't know how to handle it. So I think it's very important for schools to give children that freedom where they know how they need to manage themselves. Because for life they need to manage themselves. Nobody's going to tell them to do this, do that, etc. And I think that's where I think some people go wrong, because they try to plan too much without knowing what the child wants, and sometimes living their dreams through their child. So that becomes a misfit, and that becomes a problem later on.
As a school, the outcome and the success stories of students, when shared with current students, do you think that helps build their aspirations?
Absolutely. I think DAIS is an example, one of the greatest example of how positive peer pressure works. And I'm not using that word peer pressure in a negative sense, but in a positive sense, because I believe that if you're in good company, right, you get inspired to see what another child is doing. And I think you ask any child here, or any student here in the school, they will say that, being in this sort of an environment where everybody was so focused and keyed in, it also helped them to be focused and do something, right? And I think that is something which works really well. And when they see that, when you're sitting here, when you see all around yourself, it's the company that you keep actually then drives you to where you go. We say that we want to create a learning environment by which every child should inspire to give in their best, and whatever is their best. Now, outside of DIS, everybody feels that, we get the best students and basically we do nothing and these students achieve. I've heard this from so many of my peers who say that, oh, but you all select students. I wonder how you can select students when they're in nursery, when they're joining you. Can any school select? I think what goes into what this school is today is a lot of hard work, is a lot of systems and processes, is a group of people who are really passionate about education. That's what has brought what we are here today. I don't think we look for shortcuts. We do not look for solutions which will, you know, not take us far. So, like Univariety, our taking in Univariety as the university, sort of alumni solution. I think it has really changed how much we know today about our alumni. Though it was, whenever you're doing a new thing, it takes time because you need to build that critical mass amongst children, because then they get inspired to see, okay, everybody's sharing, I'll also share. And then everybody will come and do that. So I think today we have more than critical mass. If I'm not wrong, there are about 1,800 students there. I hope so. If I'm saying the right numbers. And I think now what people are also seeing is that, okay, this is another place that I can actually share stuff. Students, current students, they best react to alumni. When they have spent 10 years in college, then they come back and understand the value of what I am saying. Because I am apparently their greatest enemy at the time that they are in school. Because somebody has to discipline themselves, somebody has to tell them to come on time and do things and stuff. I think they understand the value of it later in life.
And the network is so unique.
Network is unique, so they really feed from each other, if I may say that, and and inspire each other. They are so cued on in terms of when they hear these alumni stories, and because they are people who have been in those classrooms and done that, so they take their feedback very seriously. So in all our orientations, subject choices to career choices to university applications, everywhere we take that feedback of what the past students said, what are the common mistakes they have done, how they could have done things differently if they would have done it once again. I mean, those are all feedback which is very important. Yeah. So I think this whole network that we have now put in together, and now that we are even actively pursuing to follow up, I mean, you will never get 100%. But as long as you get that critical mass, I think.
Another impression is that there are celebrity and celebrity students here, but how does school treat everybody as equal?
So the school uniform is a leveler. Once everyone wears the school uniform, all are the same. And it really doesn't matter who you are. Once you are inside the school, you're a student of the school. And it's the same rule for every parent. And in extremely early days of the school, when our founder and chairperson, she had 3 of her children in the school. She would also come to a parent-teacher meeting. She would also do everything that a parent needed to do. And I think that sets the tone, right?
I also feel like the school has maintained a top ranking continuously for so many years. You spoke about all of the things that attribute to it. How important is it to you for are there particular benchmarks that you every year, a milestone that you're expecting the school to achieve?
We do not expect any milestones every year, but we monitor the progress of the children very carefully. So instead of, and I truly believe that as long as you do that and your systems and processes are right, every batch is different. You cannot have same set of results every year. But broadly, it would be the same. And that broadly it would be the same. How would you know that it would be the same? There are some benchmarks which are there internally that I know that, okay, these numbers should be, internal exam results should be this way. And we do a very detailed results review process for all internal exams. Nothing comes out just like that. So what goes in is a lot of hard work. Yeah. And I think you need to, and consistently. Consistency depends on processes. You set a process, you ensure that that process is met, day in, day out. That makes a great institution.
What was the vision with the alumni for the coming year? What do you think Univariety can contribute to help with that vision?
I think if we can, create that platform where children, the current students, they are able to understand the alumni journey. They are able to understand the range of things which are available today to them. It will only help them to progress. So I think the stories, the connection, the ability to reach out, the guidance, and to work together. Today many of our alumni are, in there because, and they're in leading positions at various companies. So if if those people can, if they can work together, if they can give, chances to the current students to sort of experience what it is to be on that, you know, framework, I think it will only take them forward.
Project and internship just to get.
Yeah. The internships are very important. I think the internships are important, but also when students are coming out of college or out of university, there's so many of them. You saw, I think about 60% of our students are currently in the top colleges, what you would say as your, tier one colleges, right? And when they're coming out and looking for opportunities as an employment, I think that connect when they know that okay, dear student, because at the end of the day, in this world today, the biggest factor for employment is trust, right? And there are a lot of these students, they automatically connect with each other because the moment they know DIS, they know that okay, it's somebody that I've grown up with.
It's their network.
Yeah, it's their network. And I think that every school will, have their own network. And I think what I can foresee is that this will become one of the most powerful alumni networks in the country.
Amen to that. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Basu, for today's discussion. I think it's been very valuable. And congratulations once again for 21 years at the school.
Thank you so much. It was lovely speaking with you. Thank you.